Bonsoir à tous. Ça fait plaisir de voir autant de monde. Ça fait un moment quand même. Donc, au nom de la Fondation Pavillon Sicli et de son comité de programmation, je vous souhaite la bienvenue au Pavillon Sicli, ce lieu emblématique. Nous sommes ici dans le cadre du cycle de conférences, pas de deux, pour entendre un architecte de Zurich, Rodrigo Boltshauser, et un ingénieur matériaux genevois, Rodrigo Fernandez. Et je me réjouis beaucoup de les entendre parce que leur travail, leur collaboration, leur recherche, c'est quelque chose de très riche et je pense qu'on va tous sortir d'ici avec beaucoup de bonnes vibrations et bonnes anecdotes. Quelques infos juste au niveau programmatique, au niveau de la Fondation Pavillon Sicli. Vous dire que pas loin d'ici, il y a encore une expo, Architects at Play, qui est ouverte jusqu'à dimanche. C'est le dernier moment pour aller la voir. Ceux qui ne l'ont pas encore vue, je vous invite à la voir parce qu'elle est très très bien. Donc jusqu'à dimanche, après ça sera terminé. Et puis, donc ce soir, cette conférence de nos pas de deux et une dernière conférence du cycle se tiendra le jeudi 29 juin, 18h30, toujours ici. Il s'agira de Stefano Boeri et de Paola Deda, une conférence qui se tiendra en français, contrairement à celle de ce soir, malgré mon introduction qui se fera en anglais. L'objectif, c'est toujours d'entendre nos conférenciers pendant le temps qu'il faut. On a tout le temps. Et après, comme d'habitude, on a le temps de poser les questions et puis de partager un petit moment d'échange. Soyez très à l'aise avec la question de la langue. On a une armada de traducteurs derrière, donc vous la posez dans la langue que vous voulez. Le français va très bien. Et voilà, les réponses vont. Soyez à l'aise avec cette question-là. Je n'ai pas préparé une grande introduction pour ces messieurs, mais parce que je crois que le temps est court et qu'on a surtout tous envie de les entendre eux. Je voulais juste leur dire qu'effectivement, je me réjouissais beaucoup et depuis pas mal de temps de ce soir. Et donc, je crois qu'il est temps de leur laisser la parole. Welcome to Pavillon Sicli, Roger and Rodrigo. We are very excited to listen to you, both of you. And so now, the floor is yours.
Allô, allô. Est-ce que vous m'entendez? Voilà, ouais, c'est bon. Merci à la Fondation Pavillon Sicli pour cette invitation. Comme l'a dit Marcio, je vais switcher à l'anglais pour être cohérent avec la présentation de ce soir avec Roger Boltshauser. Thanks, Roger, for coming to discuss together. We've prepared this presentation together, also with my partner Laurent. I would like to thank because he helped us a lot. So the idea of tonight is to talk about earth construction, going from the material as the producer's perspective, as a material scientist, to the architecture with the architect's perspective that has a long and very rich experience with earth architecture and is still ongoing. So we will talk about vernacular earth architecture, step into action, how both of us discovered and decided to try and build and work with this material, how we intend to democratize this material, pushing these properties to the limit, and research and teaching that is so important. So I'll start with the vernacular architecture. As we all know, human beings have built with raw earth since very ancient times. This is an example of Bam in Iran, where already before Christ, 500 years before Christ, we were building with earth. These are adobe cities. Adobe is a technique where you mold earth in a mold and you let the block dry in the air. And cities and many, many examples around the globe show that there is a very huge human patrimony heritage of earth constructions that are declined in different techniques. And this is the wheel of techniques that was designed by Hubert Aiguillot in the 1980s to try and describe everything what you can do with this material, and how you can shape it by cutting, by pressing, by extruding, by pouring, and it becomes then specific techniques. And today we'll especially push a little bit on rammed earth. That is one of the main technique of earth construction that Roger has developed. And on our side, blocs de terre compressés, compressed earth blocks that are made since a few years also here in Switzerland. So this is upside down, sorry about it, but it's supposed to be a geological map of Switzerland to show you that we have a lot of vernacular architecture also here in our regions. Roger will talk about it, but we have the good materials that are sedimentary materials from result of the erosion of glaciers of the last 1.5 million years that have come in the flat grounds. And so we have the good properties. We have a good particle size distribution with clays, sands, and gravel naturally contained in our earth that are extremely suitable for earth construction. So this is actually a chance. This is and this is something that we really try and exploit.
Yes. Hello, thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction, and I hope we will do a good lecture together, because we just did it very spontaneously, so we try to help each other. Huh? Okay, so this is the card we do with our students from the EPFL. I was here 2017. So one point was what the earth has to do with our culture, where it comes from, because if we did the Haus Rauch, there was a lot of prizes, but there was also some aspect what earth has to do with us is something from, because we know it from somewhere else. So is it important for us in our climate zone? And the second point was earth is nice, but you can't do big buildings, so you have not the potential to scale it up. So it means it's not relevant. So it's nice, but it's a niche. It's nothing important. So what we did with the student of the EPFL, and of course we already know, we went to Lyon, which has a lot of rammed earth building. We document them. We did some pictures and some sketch, and we also go to St. Gallen and close to St. Gallen, because there is a region. They have a lot of textile trade, and 300 years ago, they went down to sell the textile in Lyon, because Lyon was a kind of hub of textile trade, and they learn from this technique and they take it back to the east part of Switzerland, and also in Geneva there's earth buildings. So there is a relation. There is also a history of earth building. So for us it was important to show that. Now we try to do the next one. Yes, and out of that we did a publication. We have a big exhibition at the EPFL, and we talk about the second aspect. We had an idea to scale earth construction up with the pre-tension construction. This is the title, the cover title we did. It's together with Archizoom, and it's a construction which is under pressure, and the idea was to come to a bigger scale out of the history of earth. But you see also detail which we learn, the corner details we learn in Lyon, how they stabilize the corners, so little things we integrate. And here you see a building we found there in the region of Lyon. This is bigger than Ricola. And the funny thing about that was it is around 200 years old. It's a farmer building. It's still used as a farmer building. And it was 2070. The picture is also from there. The people doesn't let us in, because they didn't understand why we are interested in the building, so they keep us out, so that we just could have a look around. There are already guides who show you buildings like that, but even the guides wasn't able to let us in. So it means also something that it's in a way, it's forgotten. People don't understand and what they have, and we thought we have to do a publication. I mean, it's so amazing, it's so huge, and they did it by hand, and it's an amazing building. So we try, with that trip, it was a seminar week with the EPFL, we had the idea we have to do a book and an exhibition. Where is it better? So this is a beautiful building because it's also a farmer building. Here you see it's also 200 years old. It's they have pigs in here, but what you also see how you do earth building in our climate zone. To have a good protection, you need a big roof. You need a stable base. You need probably nice corner details, some details for the windows, and with that you don't have to cover the earth construction. It could survive 200 years. So if people say this construction doesn't work in our climate zone, I tell them go to Lyon, and there you can learn to study. Of course. They also have cuts and so, but in general, the building survived there in a good way. So we was impressed what we found. It's also extremely beautiful. Yes, and this is a little farmer house in Geneva, in Vernier, and was also a funny story. It's outside is with plaster. We didn't see it from outside. We see it from inside. And the people who lives there, they didn't believe. I said, "Oh, you're great! You have an earth building. How beautiful!" Because the details, you know, with how they did the framework, it's clear it's an earth construction. They say, "No. This is an old concrete. It's not earth." And no, this is earth. No. We have to put the windows out. I mean, it was so heavy, so strong. It's like concrete to cut concrete, and we. We couldn't say anything. So, okay, it's an old concrete building, but we believe, and they didn't trust us that it's an earth building. But we sent them a book, and I don't know what they think today about their building, but it's also a funny story to understand that this construction is in a way forgotten. And Geneva, beautiful. Yes, and then we went back to Hauptwil. This is close to St. Gallen. This is a textile fabric. This is 300 years old. And we know that it's in the east part of Switzerland. All is made with plaster. This is an earth construction here. But they go over it with plaster. This is a simple way to protect earth construction. They have many buildings there. It's also a school, 2 schools building, and other houses. And this is an earth construction, 300 years old. And they did it because they learned from Lyon. Because of the textile trade, they bring it to their place, they build it, it was easier, and what they also found out, the insulation is better, and the climate is better. So the workers did a good job there, so they have a good atmosphere, and this they saw in Lyon, so they tried to do that also. And it's also forgotten, not so many people know that this is an earth construction. There was one doctor work from DTH from Kilchberg, which document all this Swiss earth building, especially in the east part. So we found it out because we have this documentation. Yes, it's my turn. Okay, sorry. Okay, my turn.
More.
Yeah, step into action. So he did the he did the lecture. So we are the actor here. Okay, step into action. Yes. So how we start, and what is the starting point of our relation to earth construction? We start around 2000, so it's really a long time ago, 20 years. And we start with the Südhölzli. These are the little sport facility buildings in Zurich. And it was a special place because this was a kind of sport place which is completely under protection. Hermann Herter did that in the 30s. And Robert Meyer, he did a beautiful concrete shelter construction close to that, what we see here, a little bit fatter. So it was a place of innovation, but it was also a place which nothing was possible. But they need some little storage rooms for the sport equipment, and we lost the competition. We were second, but in general we had to be first because they did a program for 2 schools, but at the end they decided to do only 1 school. If they would do 2, we would be the winner, but they choose the concept which could be also 1 school, so they felt a little bit bad about that. It's the city of Zurich, so they asked us to do something here because they have a problem to integrate something. This is Robert Meyer. this beautiful construction. So we did. This is the chance because we know that the city was a little bit doesn't felt so good about that prom that we wasn't the winner. So we tried to do something special, and we told them, okay, it was always a place of innovation. This is one of the first shelter construction in concrete in Zurich. We want to do a new earth building, and we also argument like that the space there is in, before it was a river which flowed there, and then they covered that, so it's kind of not, it's a landscape which is made by human, you know. So, and we found it interesting to take this argumentation to say, to go on. They move a lot of earth, so we say, let's do something with earth and do a construction. The roofs are in concrete. This is more in the dialogue with the building of Hermann Herter. So we try to find a language which goes with the landscape, which is made by the people, and to be innovative and find a solution for them for this building. And the city was surprised with this, and they let us go with this idea of earth building. And it was also, it went very quick, so we invited Martin Rauch. To be honest, we didn't know much about earth construction. We just liked the material. We want to do a great design, like this haptic aspect of earth. And I know some walls from Kiernast and Vogt, which they built in the garden walls. So we went to Martin and he asked him if this is possible. And he said, no way, this is much too abstract, what you do. And we say, no, but it has to be like that. We have to find solutions. And so we start to do special details to make it possible. It was a kind of fight with him. And at the beginning, he didn't believe that we are able to come through in the city. So he believed, okay, he support us as a young office, but then I have a lot of earth project, it will fall down because of money reason and so. But it wasn't like that. We bring it through. And after 8 months, we could start to give the plans into the city, and 12 months we could start to build. So he was completely surprised that it's possible. And then, hey, Martin, we have to build it now. So he was okay. And we start. And the excavation it's no cement, it's pure earth. The earth is funny. It comes from, because we have no excavation, we have no basements here. It came from Martin Martis building from Bad Junz in Vorarlberg. This is a kind of little building they did before, and they have some material left, so I bring it to this place because we have nearly no excavation, but we have it in that sense under control. Yeah, we also did 3 buildings. We did this little tower here, which Zumthor I know love a lot. After that, I don't say he did it after that, his church, but he really knows it and he really likes it. He told me also this story. So it was kind of interesting inspiration for many people. And yeah, we did it. And today we see the construction is still at the limit. So we have some erosion at certain points. We fix it this year again. After 20 years, we did a bigger renovation. But in general, it's not a big renovation. It was not that much money. But if we would do it today, it would be different, of course, because we learn a lot about details and so. I have to say that. But yes. So the next. The Haus Rauch. Yeah. After that. Martin was a little bit surprised that we could do that. So he asked us to do with him his house. And we was pleased that we can do that. And he also did that because he found it interesting that we don't say always yes, because he's the big earth building, you know, everything. We always had our own idea to how we deal with earth. And this was for him interesting to have a real partner in the discussion. So he decided, he has many architects who wants to do his house, but he decided to go with us. He was in that time not very well known. So we did this little sport facility. So we start together this house. We start 2004, 2 years after the Hölzli, and it takes 4 years. So the planning was pretty quick, but he built 3 years. because you only build then when you have time to build. Otherwise, he was in other places, so it takes a little bit longer to finish it. But it was a great process because we change a lot all the time. We have more than 4,000 or 5,000 hours in this project, which even when we build, we change details. So it was a huge process, but it was also, we learn extremely a lot. And we also say it's not a Boltshauser project, it was a Boltshauser Rauch project. We planned it together because at that time he wasn't able to create all the details. We need something like him, a specialist which know how to deal with earth construction. So we say, okay, it's a building from us too. So for me, it was a little bit heavy because he was the client, he was also the architect, and he was also the builder. And to control him was a little bit a challenge. But I took a small salary, and I said, Martin, if we go with this small salary, you don't do anything without me. And they told me, okay, I promise. So we had him under control. Little stories, sorry for that. But yeah, it was always a lot of discussion. One discussion was about not too many windows. He wants to have everywhere windows. And I told him, Martin, we need these walls. You know, I want to do one window per room. We have sometimes two. This one I didn't want to have. This is the only one I have to do because of him. But in general, we want to talk about this wall and the materiality. So it was funny for us to talk with Martin to tell him we need the wall and not the window because you do walls and not windows. And the house is much better if it's, you know, more a strong piece of earth. So here we can use really the full excavation. This was great at the side. We did the excavation and we put it one-to-one into the house. So you have so much cubic that you can use it also for other projects. But the mixture in Schlinz, it's in Vorarlberg, in Austria, it was perfect to build one-to-one in earth. So the ceilings are made in wood, kind of, you know, these are like real trees. We just cut it on tree side and put it in. They're from the forest next to it. So it was really a big issue to use local material, don't use any plastic, nothing. We want to do as radical as possible. Of course, for both was that very important to do really a statement. For him was after 20 years building with earth to do the best what he can out after 20 years of experience, and for us also, and we of course we learn. Yeah, the building side, you see how you do earth construction. The frameworks are stronger than normal framework in concrete because the compression you have with the material gives a lot of force to the framework, so it means the construction has to be stronger. So it looks like a concrete framework, but a more stable one. So we came out of the fundament, we use earth. So we come from the bottom, we use earth wall also when but we have to hide the earth wall for the water, from the water. But in general, it goes down 3 levels in earth. So this is the construction. From outside, inside we use some kind of straw insulation, then we plaster over it. And what we also did is this layering. We want to do an abstract surface. We want to have the body. And this is kind of reaction to have the water under control. This is kind of dropping nose that the water can drop, that we try to save the surface in another way. He also did this system in his atelier house, which was older. So we did out of that the concept for the whole house, not just partially. And we also play to have a better ending, a little bit more narrow in the middle, and then again a larger scale. So we really try to do architecture out of that. It's not just functional, it's also kind of design aspect. And also the window, which goes deep. So we want to talk about the construction, how deep the construction is, and we want to create a kind of relation between inside and outside. This is the reason why we developed these window details. We have different temperature zone in it. The staircase is not insulated, so because it's more fat, we have these round shapes. So we have the temperature plus minus under control. At that time, we didn't know exactly how good earth is really at the end. So we just try, because the insulating part is when you go into the different floors. If you go to the rooms, then you have the insulation, but when you're in the staircase, it's an in-between climate. It was much better, the temperature difference, than we expect. Another small story is at the beginning of when we want to build the house, Martin was asking to get some money because he did the most ecological house you can do, but nobody could calculate it. So he didn't, at the beginning, he didn't get any money for his house because the government say, we don't have the numbers, we can't give you anything. So it was really a big fight for him to get some money to build it. It was interesting if you talk about labels today, but you know that you believe in labels and you think if you do the labels, you do something good, but in general, labels are only that good as they know, you know. And if you do a step further, in a way, you come to a point which was hard, because it was hard to, at the beginning, to finance the house for Martin. So it was really a big issue to build and to bring the numbers, and also in that sense, to understood how this work and if this in-between space really work. And we want to have the raw material also inside. You know, we want to come from outside to inside, and we want to show it. After that, we start to do some research with the school in Lucerne, with the technical school in Lucerne, University today of Lucerne. And we want to know, because there was also no really gray energy number. So to be honest, this is really calculated, because Martin did all the calculations. Every shovel he measured, so he really wants to know. Every day he wrote down in his book, and we come out. We save to a normal construction, conventional brick or concrete. We save 50% of gray energy with this. We expect a little bit more, but in this, with the real calculation, we also had machine and all the stuff. We came to less to 50%. And what we also did, we did the special thing. We also found out that the humidity is in a very good range all the time, because earth construction regulates humidity. And it also, and this the darkest spot are, you know, a normal house. And we found out that earth could help also to have less building equipment, because you can regulate the humidity. This is something used today in hospitals, that you have, you know, you only can do earth plaster roofs, and you already have something which regulates, and then you can save energy. So we have this energy aspect already also in that construction, that you can use that. Later we did much more with this aspect. Yeah, it's your turn now. Too long?
A little bit.
Okay.
But don't worry.
Too many stories.
We have a lot to say. I will be faster, don't worry.
Okay.
Anyway, so we are now stepping into action. How did we start actually with these earth blocks? And I had the chance for my diploma project. It was the same time as Hausrauch, also in the 2000 years, to go to Africa to work on these blocks, to discover this technology from an engineer perspective, a material scientist. Look at the properties of different soils, and so I had the chance then to learn really from these experiences in Africa. This is an experience that Laurent, with his former architect's office, Terre, here in Geneva, did in Conférence. This is a rammed earth wall, and he invited Martin to do that. And this is in the same years that he was doing his house. He came a few days to Geneva to do this wall. And we also learned a lot from a very small construction, modest, but still very beautiful and still standing. You can visit it. And so the idea really was to learn from now local materials, and to start pressing these blocks with some funds that we had from the state of Geneva that had given us a prize for sustainability, and because we presented the idea of compressing earth to make blocks, rediscovering this technology, and we had the chance to build also with Terre office and former Laurent's office a first construction that is in Vessy, la Maison du Futur, where we did our first blocks and first 200 square meters of compressed earth blocks. And this is the result. So we were very proud. We took a lot of security, as you can see. There is a good basement. There's a big overhanging roof. There is a bit of cement in the blocks. So there, if you go there, it hasn't changed in 7 years. So, but this is how we really learned. And we also had the chance to organized here in 2017, l'Art de bâtir la terre, invited by les Monuments et Sites, the city of Geneva, where we invited all the practitioners, all people in French-speaking part of Switzerland to teach and to show what they could do. So it was a very interesting 3 days with conferences, and we had the chance to receive Roger as a lecturer. And this is the first picture where we meet, and we talk about earth construction, and he talks about his experience, and it was a fascinating moment. And from that on, he started to design also with blocks. So he had this huge experience with rammed earth. And he said, okay, now let's work with Terrabloc, and let's work also with Lemag, that is a small startup company also specialized in rammed earth, Felix Hilgert, and he designed 2 projects with his office that combined rammed earth and earth blocks. And we had the chance then to go to Brunnen in Canton Schwyz, to produce these blocks to be closer to his construction sites. So we were really doing everything manually. So the first step was to, here is the Brunnen. It's an old cement factory that is dismantled, and that Roger dealt that we could use it for a few years, and Lemag is now using this place. And the first step was to look at the local materials, and these are the materials of the construction site of Kilchberg, and we are here with Felix Hilgert looking at these materials because it's a very crucial stage, is selecting the materials. So that was not the best day because it was raining, so it was not the day we collected them, but it was our first insight into the properties of what we had available. And there you see the earth coming to Brunnen and ready to press with the machines, with conveyor belts and stuff, and I want to show you a small video of this moment where we were during 3 months, also with students from Roger, students from us, from Fribourg, and with Felix in this ancient cement factory, producing the blocks and producing also rammed earth. So sorry, it takes a little bit of time to load. I'm not doing advertising for it. It just takes a little bit time to load, from what I've heard. Yeah. So there we are sieving the materials for the mortar, because we are putting 30% of fine earth into traditional, conventional lime cement mortars to do the joints between the bricks. So this is the sieving process. It takes a lot of time because you need earth that is very fine. There's maximum 4 millimeters. And but we only had to do a few big bags, and then you see we had like 150 cubic meters that came from the construction site. They were supposed to be already sieved, but we had big lumps, so we ended up doing a lot of handwork to actually break the lumps, remove the lumps, and we had a prior sieving process that you see here, this time not for the mortar, but to produce the blocks. So there we see Felix doing the sieving part. Have you seen this video before? No? Okay.
It's the same movie maker.
Sorry?
It's the same movie maker. We did. You have another?
No, it's not. It's not the same movie maker. It's not the same movie maker. Anyway, so there you see that it's really actually time-consuming, and we produce from this size of block that you will see around 1,500 bricks. That represents more or less 50-60 square meters of blocks per day, producing like that. And we are protected from rain. We are in a perfect site. And this is the small press that's still working today. That allows us to build as simply as possible. So this is the mix going up there, falling from the mixer, and we'll see how he presses, and then we'll go on. So this experience about really sharing our knowledge Lehmag with Stammflim, we were also doing rammed earth, and at the same time we were producing the blocks, and all these blocks were designed for, were produced for two of Roger's projects that he will present. Okay, so now it's your turn to talk about what you did with these bricks.
Yeah. I think we also invite you to the EPFL, so we have a discussion about this, but it was on the same time.
Yeah,
it was also part of the discussion and exhibition in the EPFL, so it was really the starting point, 2017, and also here was great. So yeah, we found it interesting to go on with also other techniques, but in general it's the same but smaller. To be, yeah, you know, we have to say it's a little bit easier to sell earth blocks than the whole Pise walls, you know, because, and this is it's a stupid, but in a way it's a simple aspect. If they are smaller, they really look like bricks, you know. So the way to the client is a little bit shorter than if you say I want to ram. So and anyway we think it's a super interesting technique, but we often are quicker with this. If you say rammed earth, no way. If you see blocks, we are closer to the clients. So we do this radical project, but in general, if you win competition, we have a lot of earth in. So mostly we was second, first of all. But if we win, if we have, it's still a big fight to work with earth, and often Terrabloc, the way it's in a way more, they understand it better, even if it's nearly the same, you know. But
It's earth for the dumbs.
No, I don't, but it's closer. I mean, it's simple because they have it, you know, it's a smaller block and they trust them a little bit more. So it's, but he has a lot of interesting aspect, and I'm completely open to everything, you know. So we also love to go with other techniques. This is something I think it's important that we are open today. We have to find way to use this earth. This excavation, which we normally throw away, we have to find in any way. So it's really great, and of course I see a lot of aesthetic potential. So we did this oven tower. After now, I will tell you, it's extremely related to that what we did at the EPFL, because at the EPFL I show you already the cover from the Pise documentation, tradition and potential. This pretension construction went on in the next project. So it was based in Lausanne, and here with our discussion, this pretension idea. I went, after being a guest professor for a year in EPFL, I went to the TU Munich, and I took this idea with me, and we did this mock-up in Sitterweg in St. Gallen. Sitterweg is an old textile fabric, so we went to them and told them, you have a history of earth, so you need this mock-up, and they said, okay, let's do it. And we did it, and then we have some clients from the Museum of Cham, which they have an old brick museum, and they want to have, they want to not just look backwards, so here. Oh, it's already construction site, so I go probably more before. They only don't want to have an old brick factory. They also want to talk about material. They have to do bricks, and they ask for a building which is an unburned building. So they saw our mock-up Sitterweg. They came when we produced it, and they have the idea to do something there. And I take this project to the EPFL, from the EPFL to TU Munich, and they want to have a kind of tower which they can show the people from a certain level, the whole area, which is also on the protection, because it's a beautiful landscape there, and to have a building which is a kind of a look in the future, not a backwards. And what we design is also it's this pretension construction. Again, it was a learning from the EPFL. We prefabricate these rammed earth walls, and we also used Terrabloc. And you see how we produce the whole building only with students. So we have 30 students in Munich working on that, and then I moved to the ETH, and there we have another 10, 15 kind of students who work on these plans, and then we have another 60 students who was working on the site, producing blocks and these big blocks and also the smaller Terrablocks. And then after producing there in this in Brunnen, we really built it in a very fast time. So in 3-4 months, the building was ready, and it was made also with this pre-tension construction. Here you see the learning of EPFL, of St. Gallen Sitterwerk. It's really each element stay on itself. The problem I will talk about later also about that. So the pretension we did works not so good at the first mock-up we did in St. Gallen, because the construction shrinks a lot. So we always have to do it again to make that stable. And here we have some kind of springs which permanent bring some pressure on the construction. And the idea was also already in the APFL to attack the second point. The second point was this building, this construction it's not an answer for density, it's not an answer for a bigger building. So we try to do a construction which comes to a bigger scale. So we have here a building, it's 9 meters. The APFL mock-up was 6 meters, and the construction really works. We measure that, and we calculated we could come up to 40 meters. It doesn't mean that we have to, but we want to talk about the potential of earth construction. And today with this earthquake aspect, Yemen is 7-story high, but it's not an earthquake. In an earthquake case, it doesn't work with our rules, but this would work with our rules. So really to attack the scale and to say it's important that we go with this material, we will find way, even, to be honest, when we are still at the beginning, so we did that. It's a kind of big mock-up, but it's also a platform to talk about the surrounding. It's a beautiful space, and it has an oven in it. And the oven is a kind of second layer, and this is made with Terrabloc. So here we did something, a combination. We found it also beautiful to have both material, kind of oven, because the old oven they have in the old factory doesn't work anymore because it's a wood building and the fire police doesn't allow them to burn, so they can do no schooling, nothing. So the students from Munich had the idea to do that they can burn stone also to show how it works. They have the material there. So, and they also have an unburned building. So it's really about the past, and it's also about the future, and it's with Terrabloc here. Yeah, and here you see the pretension details. You see also the details of Lyon. So every block is stabilized at the corner with truss chalk and the elements. And another aspect which is important, we only get the permit to build for 10 years because the whole site is on the protection. So they only give it for 10 years. And it means the whole building is circular. So we can take the roof away, all the elements. We can bring it to Geneva if you want, in 10 years, if they want to have it away. So this is also interesting, the circularity as an important aspect today to do it. Because normal, if you talk about circularity, it's light building, it's steel and wood, it's not earth. But we find it very funny to have a very heavy building which is circular. And so we did it, and also the pretension construction helps that to make it circular, because each element just stay on each other, and it push it down. To be complete in the APFL, we have Terrabloc there, but we also have Martin Rauch who support us with this idea, and we have Jörg Gonzett. And Jörg Gonzett is a specialist of pretension construction, and maybe you remember Hanover, the pavilion from Zumthor, with the wood layers and the pretension construction. In a way, it's the same system. So he was completely excited, but the idea comes from students, not from us. So Burgi was a French it's a student from the APFL. So inside, you see the Terrablocs, the way up, and we use the cable also. Both sides there are cable. We use to do also the exhibition, so we use them in several moments. And you see all the fundaments just we put them in. We have some nails there to take it out, so it's everything is circular. Yeah. Oh, it's still my run. So, so the second project is a newer one. You know, this was a kind of special project. We have a great client who just want to have that because we have a brick museum and we have a big fundraising. They gave us the government gave us money, so it was kind of, you know, a special frame to work in. Here we have a housing project in Kilchberg. You talk about already about the earth. It's in an upper segment. You have from, if you look at down here, you have the Lake of Zurich, so it's very high. It's an expensive community there. It's an expensive place. You can save a lot of insurance if you live there. It means the rents are very high. So we had the idea to do something in earth, and we did a combination as earth blocks inside. We did a double layer construction and a reuse brick facade outside. The facades outside are more than 100 years old, so we did a reuse. We did this reuse aspect. We also have less energy in it. And inside we have the Terrabloc, which regulate the facade. The structure is in the roof are in concrete. You have some concrete columns, and the fillings, the double layer construction, is earth and reuse bricks. And the excavation we use is from the side. So. And to say the flat here is 100 square meters, it costs about 5,000 Swiss francs. It's really in a high level. Why I tell you that? Because we was a little bit afraid that the client couldn't rent it out because it's too special, you know. And we wasn't afraid. Well, who can pay 5,000? Probably not architects, probably lawyers and stuff. I don't know, doctors and so, or double, you know, both working people. Yeah, we was a little bit afraid that they have problem with these materials. So for us was also in a way a test if this really worked. So we could do that. You see inside the earth layers, the Terrablocks, and then you see the outside layers like a double construction and a lot of insulation in between. In a way, a normal construction, but with special materials. Reuse and with the excavation. It was, if you see, there are not so many cubic of earth, but it's 10% of the excavation we can use here. So we have a lot of excavation from Kilchberg still in Brunnen. So, and this is the result. You see the Terrabloc, you see the structure, and of course we have some loam ceilings with plaster. So we integrate, and I have to tell you, after 2 weeks, everything was rent out. So we was, yes, the people are ready for construction. We don't have to be afraid. And even if the surface are a little bit, we have to tell them the nails has to be not in the stone, it has to be in between. And all with this aspect, they like it. And they're proud to be there. And it's nice that this material come really to the people. And people likes it. So it's not something like freaks like us. We just like to work with that. So it's really something people want. And this is, I believe, the result. So I'm a little bit, now we take this small, there are 7 flats, we show that all the clients we have and tell, look, it's possible, you can rent it out, it works. And we attack the bigger scale together. Yeah, again, the sleeping room. Of course, we have some special details, you know, because we can't do that in the wall. We can do only 20 centimeters, and you go out, but it's also beautiful. You can do architecture out of that. And this is the material, and this is the wall. It's extremely nice. Kilchberg is so expensive community, but you have the perfect material to build in earth. It's also strange in a way. And we also did it at the staircase with earth, so this was also a discussion if it's too fragile, you know, if you go up, but we thought it's a beautiful atmosphere we can create with this material. Yes, and again, the top flat which goes to the roof with these earth blocks. And it's a kind of maison domino, you know, Le Corbusier, and then you do the fillings, and it's the same system. And it's not the Hausrauch in that sense. It's not that radical, but it's a way to try to do a smart hybrid construction and come to the client. You know, it's really come to the market with this material, and in that sense, it's really a try to, and in every way you could, you know, to come closer to the market and to come closer to the client. So still for us, after building Hausrauch 20-year remnant, it's still a big step. And this is probably also important to know for you that it's not easy. It's not a home run, you know, to go on. No, but we are there, you know. We will show the bigger ones now. Yes. Okay, it's your turn.
Yeah. Thanks, Roger. So now the chapter on how to democratize. Well, you've seen this handmade production. This took time. This takes energy. This needs money. And we had to hire students also to do all the blocks, and people cannot always afford producing blocks on site. It needs to be really a collaborative project to work on site and to make handmade blocks. And so actually we were struggling, financially struggling to try and make something run and democratize this product, and we had the chance to meet a family-owned company. Okay, I'm asked to go faster. So we decided to try with an industrial factory. It's a press that makes pavements to make earth blocks, and it worked. And then we could invest in our own forms to make compressed earth blocks, and that was very important for us, is to show only these two things, is that this is the life cycle assessment of a handmade block, and this is a life cycle assessment of the industrial one. This is in non-renewable energy, and this is in CO2 emissions. So for us, it was very important to show and to see that by upscaling the production, we were not moving in terms of environmental impact, and we could scale up. The gain you have in production per day in yield, even if you consume more energy per square meter of wall, it's the same. And so it opened the door to different products, opened the size of the bricks to make load-bearing walls and to make more complex shapes. And this is how I think I will skip this video because this is just what you show when we produce industrially. Shall I keep it? No? On avance? Okay. So this is how the excavated materials must be sieved and prepared. So what you see there is a bunker where we have 300 cubic meters of earth. This is our stock, and that we need to renew with local excavation. And it goes down in the factory as if it was stone to make a concrete pavement, actually. And there you see there are big vertical silos. We cannot fill them up, otherwise with earth it gets stuck. And this is the mixer where we put the 3 to 5% cement, depending on the application. We put a bit of stabilizer. We put water, and then it goes through conveyor belt to this machine. So we've multiplied by 20 the production capacity thanks to these partners, actually. So it's a kind of industrial co-working. We rent the factory for a day, and this is our mold. And this allowed us, instead of producing one block per minute, well, we produce like 1,000 blocks per minute. And this is how it vibrates. The technology is a bit different. It's a vibro-compaction. It's not only pressure, it's also vibration that rearranges the particles to make them denser. And there you see the results of the blocks coming out. And basically that's the way we are able to produce now, to try and democratize. And what you did again now with these blocks, you can show us.
It's really, we are the first one who built with them.
Not really.
Not really. Nearly close to.
Let's say in German part, yes.
In German part, yes. Okay, so
no, we have some good architects here that already built with our blocks.
We found this technique of the double skin facade with inside Terrablocks and outside brick. We found it interesting, and we we really went to the market. We designed this house here. It's a very small hotel next to the station of St. Gallen. And it's together with the company of Hares, which you know here. It's a really general manager. We're just under them. And it's also for the pension, Pensionskasse of St. Gallen. So it's really a serious client. And we want to do something special with them. So we asked them to do a double skin facade with earth blocks inside. So we used this Terra pad. And I believe it was the first time. It's also 35 meters, so it's a skyscraper, a small one, but it's a skyscraper. And it's the same principle we did in Kilchberg. So yeah, this is the structure outside. It's again a concrete construction. We have this double skin facade, and we have many inside layers. And we have young hoteliers, which really was, they are around 35. So they really want to have something special, something new. And they help us a lot to go. There was also a big fight with them, but on the other hand, they help us to go with this material. So they was ready to go for that. There are 100 rooms, and they all have terra pads inside. So this is the lobby. It's near close to finish now. We are 2 months, and then you can book rooms there. And the rooms sometimes are very small, so because they want to do a lot of money.
You can see the construction site, next one.
Yeah, and here you see how we did. So down we did the normal format, and in the rooms we did the bigger format. So it's of course a filling, but these are the rooms we want to create, and we found it beautiful, you know, to have these walls. And the terra pads are really like earth blocks, you know. You see this also in the factory, how strong they are and how beautiful they are. And this is real, you know. These are the real room. This is not a rendering anymore. These are the real room. We have a lot of fights there, you know, because the products, you know, if you one side is a little bit cleaner, and if you turn, it's a little bit more bubble in. So there was a big. Can I talk about that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So the client was, no, this is too much,
is green
too much holes. So we went there and we really work by hand.
That's because our mock-up was too nice.
Yeah,
Our mock-up was too nice, and so they were saying, "This is the mock-up. This is what I want to see." But when you go from 1 square meter to 1,000 square meter, it was another story.
Yeah. So we did a lot of handwork here to finish this together with Felix, together with all the earth helpers. We want to make it possible, and at the very end we want to show the walls, you know. Yeah. And we came through. So, but it was, you know, it was this process of upscaling. It was going to the factory. I think already you can do it better. You learn out of that.
I hope so.
And and we tried to make it possible in this scale, and it was a fight, you know. Of course, we showed the most beautiful walls you could do, and of course, at the end there was a discussion, and it was in that sense in between was not so easy, you know, to bring it through. It was a discussion about costs, you know, is it less? Did they pay too much? On, you know, so it was a hard fight. But now they are happy, you know. At the end, you know, if you do all the infills and so, it disappears a little bit every little spot. And at the end, still, earth is a lifeful material. It's something which is, and you have to need it. And even if you show one-to-one, you're not there, you know. But I'm really happy that we are at that point, and that you can rent that now if you go into
I think
some
we
goal.
Need to be a bit faster to finish now, Roger, because people are tired of Earth.
Really?
No,
I'm not sure.
No, I'm joking. But this is again you.
Ah, it's again me. Okay.
Yeah, it's about.
Okay, ma'am, I go quicker now. Yeah. So this is the new one we did. So this is 6-story high earth Terrabloc, completely carrying everything. So inside, outside Terrabloc. Now we attacked really, and we're going to go 6-story, and it's on the limit of construction, you know. And this is 6-story high. This probably is the limit of Terrabloc from the construction part, 5 to 6-story. And yeah, we struggle. The client is struggling, but he likes it also. And it's a beautiful house. It's a housing project with 2 sides, a beautiful connection. We also like, again, this, you know, this aspect of architecture. At the end, it has to be good architecture. It has to be something which is in a good dialogue. We like this filigranity to the mass. This is something also we try to develop. We had it in the House Rauch, we have it here. And so this shifting between mass and lightness, and this is beautiful with earth and also, of course, with Terrabloc. So I go quicker, the inside could be like that. And we hope we can really do it. And then we go even bigger. We go to 300 flats, that we want to do in earth blocks. We have 6 houses, so we have to at the end we have to split. We do one part in wood and one part in earth blocks. And it's still a big fight with the client to go on. We still have earth blocks in. We have to reduce a little bit because there's Swiss life, there is Habitat, a kind of Genossenschaft, and there is Coop. And these are really big clients, and it's again a fight to bring it through. But we are there. We still have the earth blocks in it, and it's really the massive big scale together with wood, and it's again, I believe. A nice hybrid structure. We did also the master plan. It's a kind of garden city in Zurich next to Schwammendingen. It's really from Steiner is this plan, and we infilled with these new buildings. And yeah, again, this design already from the, and of course we show Kilchberg, and which we produce with students, and yeah, it's your turn. I'm quicker now.
So, no, well done. So to try and cope with him, we had to do a lot of testing. This was already 2017 for actually one project of David Reffaut and the city of Geneva that is also here present. And this is we had to duplicate a lot of this kind of tests at EPFL and also here in Geneva. To show how much strength can an earth block wall stand. And this is the results for you today. Okay, so just I give you the example. I compare the compressive strength of a wall, the maximum compressive strength. You have concrete, you have fired brick, and you have compressed earth blocks. And these compressed earth blocks have a bit of cement inside also. So you see you are close to 1 order of magnitude smaller in compressive strength than what we're used to build with. So you could think that Roger is crazy because he wants to do load bearing, but actually he has excellent civil engineers, and maybe at the end we are all crazy because we build with the green one today. Sorry, with the gray one today. We all build too much with concrete, and the idea is that we are over dimensioning our structures, and there is a way to not to under dimension, but to have a good dimensioning of structure, and also with earth, and also to cope with all these new expectations and standards. We have to do fire resistance test. This is in Lucerne, where we could show that earth block wall can stand 2 hours to the fire, and it's a whole process to try and go to the bigger scale, and because it's not a normalized product in Switzerland yet. And we could have the recognition from l'AEI on several products, and this also takes time, energy, and we need to find always fund to do these tests. Now we finish with research and teaching. On the blocks side, we are looking with startup company Oxara, but also on our side with an Inno-Swiss project at EPFL at alternative binders. Can we get rid of cement and stabilize or not stabilize the earth blocks in order to reduce always the environmental impact per square meter of wall? And we have some exciting results yet that will come soon. And then another project that we are running with B+S ingénieur here in Geneva, and also the school in Geneva, the engineering school, is to try and make a hurdis, a little bit like hortus. The idea to have a block that could be structural, a wood, earth structure, and we are in the development process. And we have the chance to teach also. Obviously, teaching and showing to the students what can be done with earth is fundamental in order to diffuse these earthen materials. So, Roger, you finish with a few
and I think
perspectives.
This is inspiration from Hortus, because it was in our book, and this is students from the EPFL. So it's nearly the same system. This is under pressure, and the rest is a kind of it's not under pressure. It's a curve shape, but in general, I think it was the inspiration, and so it's a lot of our research based on that. What we did at the EPFL, we turn it to the compression system. This is again the design we did with the students from Munich, based on that what we did in the EPFL. All the towers they expect to do with this construction also. And this is also based on the research of EPFL, so this idea of hybrid structure. At the end, I think earth will be always in combination with other materials. It's also in a tradition hybrid construction. If you look at the very early building from Lyon, so wood and even concrete with earth and on other combination, traditional system. This is Philippe Scherer, is an artist who helps us to inspire the students in EPFL, so also just beautiful image. Again, what we did at the Sitterwerk, we built this mock-up. This is the EPFL mock-up. We have a lot of shrinking after, and this is the line we had at the EPFL, just to finalize. So we always comes down, then we have to stiffen up again, and then it comes slowly down, and then we have, after half year, the compression construction works, and the learning out of that was to have these springs in the construction, and then we have it at the Ofen Tower in Cham, we have nearly a flat line from the beginning. So it's in a way like concrete. So this was the learning from, we still are measuring, the line is not that long. But we do at the ETH, we have now a start, also we can do some research at the ETH now. I'm at ETH now, and we get money. And we have Inno-Swiss teaching program now, which we also get money. It's a collaboration with a lot of professors from ETH and also Lucerne and other schools. So we really push now this material at the schools to bring it to another level. And there, of course, are a lot of questions. And we also think about other system that you have net system in the block to stabilize it more. So we already have 4 times better results for if you do the load, if you and with some special net system. So we really try to find other borders for this material, and this we want to do at the ETH. So this is the beginning. At the end, Martin Reich is always telling we are just at the beginning. We are missing 200 years of research, because that was the time which they started to go on with concrete and steel. And since then, you know, the piece like Montreux did 200 years ago, it's in a way still the same. So there is a lot of things we have to do to come to that point that this is just a building material and everybody can use. So this is what we try, and I hope we can do it with you, because at the end we need a lot. It's a strong effort to don't bring this material away anymore. Okay, this is the end? Okay.
Ah, c'est bon. On est bon. C'est vrai.
Thank you very much, Roger and Rodrigo. I think we all agree that you are not crazy, but you are both genius, so that's great. On ouvre un petit peu la partie échange, questions-réponses. Après, je pense une présentation aussi riche et aussi intense que celle-ci. C'est pas toujours facile de se lancer pour la première, mais j'en connais plein qui vont se lancer. Soyez à l'aise à la poser en français si vous êtes plus à l'aise. Rodrigo, j'ai vu que ton anglais était absolument perfect, so parfait. C'est parti.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question to Roger. You said in the first project that you used hers for the basement. Is that right? For the underground?
Yeah. but we have a kind of bitumen, you know. You have to make it safe, you know. But in the House Reich, we also have kind of, we let the space between the earth and the wall open, so we kind of create a kind of triangle space. And in the back part of the excavation, there is a wine. Martin used it for the wine, you know, but there are kind of caves from the excavation, and of course you have to do a bitumen lage, I don't know, to save the water can't touch the wall, but the structure really goes down to the fundament.
So even for the basement, we are not condemned to concrete. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. We want to do it radical, as you know, but the effort is really a space in between, and we have to be able to control. So Martin really wants to control the wall in the earth, so to have everything under control. So it's not such an easy detail.
Thank you.
It's in the plans, but it's not here. Yeah.
And it's still nice. It's okay.
Still this.
20 years after.
It's still not the problem. No.
That's great news. Oh, voilà. Oui.
Thank you very much. I have a question about the concept of maintenance. Maybe this assumption is wrong, but maybe originally the earth buildings, the maintenance was important. Not only just the act of inauguration, but this constant maintenance. I have a question of, this is still important in this research, in this technology, or it's more in the direction as other materials like steel, concrete that once are built, it's forget, or it's it's an opportunity to give to sensibilize the user and the clients about this technology.
Yes. Hello. The question is about the maintenance. Do we require the same maintenance on the earth walls as the first constructions that were done like 300 years ago in our regions? The question of maintenance is key. I think it's a good question. I think you've seen examples where they are more in the experimental way, like Cham is experimental. The client is accepting erosion. So we're not in a construction that needs a rendering like it used to be done, a rendering every 5 years in order to protect it, because it's more of an experiment. And if you see the projects, usually earth is better inside. And this is what, for example, Roger did in Kilchberg. So he had to make a compromise. So he recycled the fired brick for outside, and he brought earth inside. And we try, but the architects choose at the end and convince the client to push people to use earth inside in order to reduce maintenance to almost zero. Because obviously, at this stage of development, earth is still sensitive and erodes.
Yes. It's okay.
No, please follow if you want.
Yeah, as a simple way, it's just you can't do it outside. Then you do, like they did it in St. Gallen, you put plaster on it, no problem, outside. You know, it's just the architects probably don't see the earth that quick anymore. So it's something, you know, of course I like the earth, the atmosphere of earth construction, but there are simple ways to use it also outside. Just first of all, it's probably more my ego, you know, who wants to talk about that, what I do. But there could be much quieter ways to do it. I also found in Lyon beautiful details that the weather side is plastered and the other side not. It's extremely beautiful detail. So, and it's also about how you do the construction, the roofs and all. So you can do, it's a creative problem, I believe. But of course, I would say the Silhölzli goes too far if you look backwards. And yeah, maybe at the end, after everybody is using earth, maybe we have a more relaxed way of using earth. But it doesn't. I wouldn't say it's not possible outside. It's just plaster. Then it's done. Yeah. Go to Hauptwil. There you find a lot of plastered. earth building.
You're right. I'm just
No,
saying
it's simple.
I'm just saying it's possible, but you need to protect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And also in Geneva there is a plastered earth building. So you have it in the book, and probably you already know.
Vous avez une question là?
Yes. With what kind of insulation do you work?
Also we did in Haus Rauch, we did with straw. Straw.
And the other one, which is much thinner, that where you use the bricks outside, you know?
There is a
Kilchberg.
this is Steinwolle. Also this is a normal insulated stone wolle, Steinwolle.
Okay.
in English, I don't know.
It's rock wool.
Yeah,
Rock
yeah.
wool.
Vendoche.
Yeah.
Prochaine question. Ah, je profite, alors je vais me glisser dans la faille pour poser une question, moi. Je la pose en français, Rod, comme ça je serai plus à l'aise.
Charge.
On a vu que... Alors, il y a eu 20 ans d'essais, d'expérimentation. On voit qu'aujourd'hui, Roger, tu es confiant avec cette matière, hein, plus confiant en tout cas. Mais j'aimerais que tu nous dises un peu comment c'était au début, comment est-ce que tu as convaincu des clients, alors Martin Rauch, je pense qu'il était convaincu, mais tous les autres clients à embarquer dans des aventures comme celle que tu nous as montrées, avec tout le côté expérimentation que ça relève, le côté non normatif, le côté toutes les difficultés. On sent que tu as ça en toi, mais quel est ton secret pour pouvoir le convaincre au-delà de ceux qui sont convaincus?
You understood the question?
Not everything.
No, he says that now, after 20 years of experience, you feel confident about this material. But how do you convince your clients to go, because there is still much experimental objects that you do, and how do you convince them to go for earth construction? This is the main question.
Yeah, it's still not easy, you know. Even if you, after 20 years, we do still faults, you know. To be honest, the oven tower, we did this layer with wood, and wood, you know, works a little bit, and then the water comes to a point and goes there. And we thought we did everything right, and again we have a problem. So it's still challenging. So first of all, and we still have to learn, and the construction has to be very precise, and it's not easy to do it perfect, that it really works for a long time. But on the other hand, I think right now earth is really coming. It's clients see it in all the Instagram. If you're in earth interested, you have so many projects which are come, and I think the important thing it's that we have examples which we can show. You can talk about the positive and the negative aspect, or things we have to do better in the future. I think this is very important, that we have other architects which are really work. We have examples from Terrabloc in Basel, I believe, a new building. For us, we did the Oceanium design. Also, we didn't came through in the voting, but we did the Haus Rauch for Herzog Dömer, or for Ricola. Was the Haus Rauch very important for the client Ricola? They show the Haus Rauch, and then they build it. And we talk with the Zoom, say, look, this is Ricola, this is possible, and let's do it like that. And they say, okay. So it's always a ping pong, and we have to help each other and to learn together. And we need a lot of research, and this is the way. And I go to my Terrabloc houses and show the client, let's do it bigger, it works, you can rent it perfectly, people like it. It needs example. And it needs, of course, today, it's much different than 5 years ago. The people are right now much more open. Now we win the competition. 5 years ago, we was often second. So the people are really ready to do something. They know it has to be different. And this is it's a really, and if you have answer, and if you have a little bit more benefit, as you have a little bit more interest, and people really want it. Often the clients really want it, but they are maybe sitting in the city of Zurich, so they have to be careful, but in the heart they really want it. And this is a little bit different. So we have a lot of support, and this we have to use in a way, because we have some, Felix did some calculation. I did one calculation, was that we have thousands of kilo building material we bring into Zurich, as we bring earth material out of Zurich, excavation. And this sometimes we bring to Germany, which is really stupid. So if we can use this material, we have less building material, which we bring in, and we can use that. And we have to, because the gray energy in a house, this is another diagram I didn't show today, it's more and more important. Also the reuse, or that we have to talk about what we pull down when we build new. And when we build new, how we build new, or if we do a renovation, with what kind of material we do, this is extremely an important question today. And another thing is, I think there's, in the school, we have also discussion, many students, they don't want to build anymore because they just feel guilty. And this is also, in a way, I don't want to say this is a way out, but you also can do beautiful renovation with this material. But we have, for me, is a kind of completely interesting question, and it's also an extremely creative question, because it allows you to do things which we couldn't do 5-10 years ago. So it's really, the architecture is really open to new answer, and this is a great chance to do things different. And this is a very positive aspect. In all these climate problems we have, there is a lot of force for new ideas, and it's start to be possible. And it's an extremely exciting moment for me. On the other hand, we have the discussion, can we build? Can we still build? Should we be architect? Should we teach the student architect? And then I also tell them it has to be, we don't have to lose the quality to produce also beautiful architecture. It has to be a strong piece of design, because if the building could survive like this structure, it's also very important. And the better thing is you do it with good materials, you know. And I think this together is an extremely interesting moment right now, and I'm a very positive teacher, really like to do a new thing, and it's like we did in the EPFL, and it's extremely motivated. And I think take the chance to do the things different in each way, and it's extremely inspiring, I believe.
Thank you.
This is the way to make clients.
Enthusiasm, so.
Let's change.
Like together, yeah. Une dernière question peut-être avant de passer à l'apéro. C'est vraiment la dernière chance. Si c'est pas le cas, si. Marine.
Thank you for the very inspiring lecture. I have a question more about your creative process, because you mentioned a lot of student work and how inspiring it also, and how it drove then a process for an architectural project. So I was just wondering if inside your office you also have this space for experimentation, or if now that you have the chance to be teaching and to be working with a lot of people that have a lot of creativity and that are very motivated, if that's where you find also a terrain for experimentation.
Yeah, it's an important question. Also, it's for me, without the school, I wouldn't be there where I am. It's always together with students, because it's a free space which you can do things which you couldn't do in the office. Nobody's paying for. And of course, many of my students are now in my office, and they have this virus of doing things different. So it's a kind of inspiration from both sides. So, and we from the office, we bring the experience we have back to the school. So it's again a kind of ping pong, you know. The teaching, the young students they're great, they like it, and they want to have their own ideas about how we can, and I give them my knowledge, and they give something back, and it's the same in the office. So they come then to my office, and we work. The competitions are exactly like that. So it's a kind of, again, a ping pong. I'm very open, and the thinking I have is very flat. We also integrate in the industry, earth builders and engineers, and in some competitions Zoom is a great instrument, because let's have a meeting. But I didn't show this spa, this big pool building in Zurich, which we won 2 years ago. In this Zoom, we have 40 engineers and collaborators discussing how we can do the house better. And this is also different. It's a very flat process. I also like to be very close to people who works with Felix and so to have this dialogue from the beginning to develop something. And it's different. It's not anymore the architect has the big idea, and then he starts to design, and then he's design, and then he starts to, hey, Rodrigo, how we can do this wall? Oh, it doesn't work. It's too heavy. It's too far. It's not that anymore. To have a building which really works together with the building system, together with, you have to know how this material works from the beginning. Otherwise, it's not a strong piece of design. Otherwise, you're not able to bring all the things together. So this is a different aspect of designing. So we are, in a way, less important. We more, try to integrate everything, bring it to a point, and and we need a lot of knowledge from the beginning to do it different. And this is great, it's a lot of work, but it's very inspiring. But it's much more flat. It's not that anymore.
Thank you.
And it's the same with your collaborator in the office. It's flat. When they have a good idea, I'm happy, even also with the students,
Je crois qu'on va s'arrêter exactement avec cette réponse qui est exactement la fin. J'aimerais qu'on applaudisse encore une fois nos deux conférenciers. Bravo. Si on n'a pas tout bu, il y a encore à boire et la soirée continue. Les conférenciers sont là, profitez pour poser des questions. Bonne soirée et à très bientôt.
Merci.